What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. I'm your host, Pat Finley. I'm a lead master certified technician at General Parts Group, and I'm a certified special trainer. Our goal is to shine a light on what we believe to be one of the most interesting and rewarding industries a field service technician can work in. We love the work we do, and we are glad you're listening to this podcast. In this episode, we feature Zac Hampton. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles. But first, this episode of the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles is proudly sponsored by Viper. Viper brings you NSF-registered coil cleaning products, the legendary Nylog for sealing threads and gaskets, and solutions for heat protection like WetRag. Viper's HVACR products were crafted by HVAC technicians themselves, so you know what that means. They mean business. Plus, Viper believes in non-toxic solutions because performance should never come with a compromise. Maintain your cool with Viper. So today we have very special guest, Mr. Zac Hampton. You guys, if you're not in the kitchen world, you may not know who Zac is, but you're going to know a lot about him after tonight. Zac works for Austin Mueller's Restaurant Equipment Service, and I believe you guys are in Tennessee, correct?
That's correct, West Tennessee, just north of Memphis.
Sweet. So you're not too far from one of our branches down there. So Zac's a pretty cool dude. He's got a really cool story, and he's come a long ways in 8 short years, and it's kind of cool. I've been following him for a while on LinkedIn, and just, you know, he's kind of laid back. He don't post a whole lot, but apparently he's a man of business because he just won the 2024 Outstanding Technician Award at the CFESA conference last week. So he's coming up his award right now, and he's got it behind him. Mine's off on my shelf over here of all of my stuff, and that's really cool, man. So how's this last week been?
Man, it's been a whirlwind, man. That's all I can say. The conference was absolutely amazing for Austin Mueller's. We had Miss Loretta. She is now part of the board of directors for that. Mm-hmm. And I won this wonderful, amazing award that the guys and girls from CFESA bestowed upon me. Totally unexpected, but greatly appreciated. Also, we actually won a scholarship while we were there too. So Parkstown did that for us. But it's been an absolutely amazing week, and couldn't ask for better.
Yeah, I won. You know, they only do the awards every 2 years. I won the last one, and it was so weird. I was like, why am I here? Why is a technician here?
Right.
Were you there in 2022?
I was, but I didn't stay for the dinner. I had cut out a little early. So
I thought I met you there. It was in Nashville, so it's not too far.
Right.
So we met there actually. But yeah, dude, that's cool. It's a really weird thing to win.
Right.
They even did the awards, and if you didn't stay for the closing ceremony, you didn't know about it either.
Had no clue there was such an award, and I mean, and me to get picked for it, that's awesome. So.
I was the same way. It's a really cool thing they do for the technicians. You know, someone has to nominate you, and it's blind nomination. They just, you know, break down your time in the industry, what you do in the industry, that kind of stuff. And then I think there's a committee that picks them just based, it's blindly. And, you know, to get picked, it's really a cool honor, and it's awesome. I'm excited for you to win that and see what you do with it in the next, couple of years.
Well, I'm part of the YPC with CFESA, so great things are going to be coming from the YPC very soon. So, yeah,
I was kind of jealous because when I got involved in CFESA and stuff, I was like right at the edge of like too late to join. I was like 38, 39. The cutoff's 40. So I don't get to play with the YPC people, and I'm like, hey, I can fit in over here, but I'm 42 now, so I don't get to hang out. But they do some really cool stuff over there, and it's exciting to see the younger people involved and trying to promote the industry and to get people involved in it. It's really awesome to see.
That right there is the main reason why I joined the YPC. Is a couple of folks invited me in Nashville to come sit in on the meeting, and I'd never been to a CFESA meeting, so I didn't know what to expect. But I started meeting these amazing people that were in the YPC, and I mean, these people are half my age, and I mean, they're just running everything. And it's just absolutely amazing and inspiring to me to get my act together because I'm, twice their age. So I'm right there before that 40 mark. So I don't have a few more years, but it's one of those things that I need to get my act together to do better because those folks they just inspire me every day. So.
Yeah, it's really cool to see what they're doing, and I love those people over there. I teach refrigeration at CFESA. I've done it for about 4 years now, and I've become friends with um, Olivia and Dan and all of them, and I enjoy seeing what they're doing and the cool stuff, and it's really cool to see you involved in that. So I appreciate that, man. So let's talk about, first off, how old are you, and how long have you been in this industry?
So I'm 38, and I've been in and around maintenance, not necessarily kitchen equipment, for over 20 years now. As far as being in kitchens every day, I started that with Austin, and that was about 7.5, 8 years ago is when I started that. And I mean, it's been an amazing ride with him because they treat me amazing, and they always are looking out for me and helping me, achieve my hopes and dreams. So,
Yeah, I really love what's going on over at Austin Mealers. Loretta is always posting all kinds of stuff you guys are doing. It just seems like you guys are a big family. Like everybody
right.
is appreciated, and they're celebrating everybody and the things going on, everybody's little wins, big wins, everything. It's like it's a
Right.
big team over there, and you guys are killing it, man. I'm always excited. I see them, like, you guys will post like a celebration or something. I'm like, this is cool. Like, they're all behind each other, they're all supporting each other, and it's a really good environment. So you guys are doing a
Most
good.
definitely. It all starts at the top. That's what I got to say about that. Austin Miller is an amazing guy, and I appreciate every opportunity that he gives me to make our company better. So, um, Austin, Loretta, they do treat us like a big family, and I mean that's one of the main things that draws me toward them. Is, I mean, it is like working for a family, and I mean it's a great experience.
So, a little bit about your story. Were you just doing general maintenance at like a nursing home or a facility? So you weren't even doing
That's
HVAC or anything, just general maintenance.
So with the general maintenance, I mean, I'd been doing that previously. I'd done that for probably about 4 to 5 years. Right when I graduated high school, I got involved with some folks here that own some hotels, and I got a lot of hands-on experience with older guys working with, and I learned a lot of plumbing, a lot of electrical, just different things that helped me get there. And then I moved into actually, I took a break. It was kind of weird. I took a break about 7 years, and I was a mailman, so that was kind of an odd deal. But I had a great opportunity of that. A guy that I went to church with, he said, "Hey, man, you need to come get on this job." And I'm like, okay. So, I'm a kid at that point. I don't know no better. I'm thinking post office job, that's probably a great job. So I did it. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't really where my passion is. My passion is working with my hands. I like to fix things. So I kind of got back off into, doing a maintenance job, and that's what I was doing. I was just doing building maintenance, and had a lot of great vendors. Austin Mealers was included in those vendor lists, and I got a want to learn more, and that want to led me toward HVAC. Had some awesome guys that work for some companies that just kind of showed me the basics. They're like, "Hey, man, let me show you exactly what we're doing here," and I'm like, "Man, that's awesome. I like that. Maybe one of these days I can do that." And I mean, I kind of followed that dream, and ended up where I'm at now. So,
That's cool. So you said you realized the money they were spending on HVAC, so you wanted to learn HVAC. You started going to school for that, and it just didn't really pan out where you were at, correct?
right. It was basically the administration for where I was at. They wanted me to learn this. They thought it was a great idea. They're like, "Yeah, we're going to save a lot of money, if we just get this guy trained up." And what it ended up being was the administration changed. And
Mhm.
when it did, they were like, "Hey, we don't need you here in class. We need you here at work." And I was like, "I've already got this paid for. I've got to go. I mean, I'm never going to get that opportunity again."
Oh,
So,
yeah.
we just didn't see eye to eye. And I mean, I ended up just going and finishing school. I did that program. I think that was like a 20-month program. I did it in 7.5 months, and I was ready to go back to work. So I was pretty familiar with all the basics. Like I said, had awesome vendors that were teaching me little things here, little things there, and that helped me get a jump start on everything. I already knew electrical. I already knew all the stuff that had to do with all that. So that was a breeze for me, and then just moved off into actually learning the HVAC and learning all the rules and regs and everything that you had to learn to do that job. Got all my paperwork, and like I said, I met Austin again. at the HVAC school. He's doing kind of what I do now. He trained me well with that. I go around to all the tech schools that are in our service area now, and I do the exact same thing he was doing, way back when. He would come in and talk, and I mean, just conversation, just, hey, man, you enjoy, what you're learning here. You want to do something similar to that, and when you actually go to work. That's almost, man, I've already been to work. I need to get the paperwork. That way I've got all the information, documented that I know this, and I need a job. And we talked about it and talked about it. And he offered me a ride along. And I thought that was awesome. I was like, yeah, I can go get some knowledge here, and I ended up doing that. And it was an amazing time. I learned a ton because riding with Austin, I mean, he's great to ride with and learn because he's old school. You get all that great knowledge, so. But I enjoyed that. I mean, it was fun for me, and then I ended up, actually getting offered a job and went to work for him. And I mean, it's been sky's the limit ever since then. What can we do to, to grow and make this business better? So
we got a couple quick questions. First off, Brian Sanders, he wants to know, what is your favorite piece of equipment to work on?
I mean, I'm a refrigeration guy most of the time, so I enjoy working on refrigeration. I do a lot of walk-in work and reach-ins and things like that. So I mean, I'd much rather work on that any day than lay in a greasy floor and work on a fryer. So,
So Brian's a refrigeration guy that's learning hot side right now. He's working with Matt Bronte over at Red, and he's been there a couple months, and he's learning the hot side. He's probably learning to hate the hot side, I imagine, but he's getting there. So that's cool.
Hey, it all pays the same to me, but if I got my preference, I'd much rather be, working on something that, is not less greasy.
So you did a few years there, and you kind of got a promotion, correct? Is that how it went?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we were kind of small company, still a small company, but every step that we get, we see, there's a need. And Austin said, hey, and he called me a service manager. I don't really have a title. I've got many hats that I wear. And he said, I'm going to make you a service manager. I said, well, what is that? I just want you to make sure that everybody in the field's taken care of. So that I'm still that. They call me different things. Now I'm a lead technician and a trainer. I still keep an eye on all our guys. I'm the hot button. When somebody gets in a bind and need to ask a quick question, they call me. Hey, man, can you help me with this? And and I'll take time and I'll explain it to them, try to get them in the right direction. That way they, can work through their problems. So problem solver, puzzle solver. That's always my favorite.
Yeah. Sounds like the same role as me. It's whatever is needed that day is what I do. Some days, some days it's cleaning up the worst jobs no one else wants to deal with. Some days it's that customer that's mad and irate, and you got to go in there and you got to fix the problem, and you got to fix, the
relationship,
the image of, Austin Mealers and Zac Hampton, everybody else coming in there. It doesn't matter what you are when you walk in. It's whoever was there before that made them mad, and you got to come in and you got to fix the equipment and you got to fix the relationship. That's probably one of the harder jobs to do, I think.
I enjoy it, man. It's always a challenge for me. It wasn't always great for me because when I did first start working for Austin, it was just learning that aspect of the business, learning how to talk to customers and learning how to deal face to face with the people that, are paying you to be there. And I had to learn how to form that relationship with that customer. That way, they see me as a help when I'm there. That way, when I walk in, they're glad to see me. Hey, man, I'm glad you're here. You're going to get me fixed up, right? Yeah, that's what I'm here for. So, you got to build that relationship with your customers.
Yeah, I think that was the hardest thing for me to learn. When I started, I've been doing this 18 plus years. I was 24 years old. I was a kid. It's weird to say that because I got a daughter. It's going to be turning 24, but enough of that. But like, I could learn to fix anything fairly fast, but learning to communicate with people, and that's a hard thing to do. And I take pride in that now, especially when someone's down or they're frustrated, and when I leave, they're smiling, they're happy. I'm like, yeah, I won this one. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a totally different level. I can fix anything almost, but if I can fix that relationship or I can turn that person's day around, I'm a lot better mood for it.
Always with me, I always make sure that, if it's not a manager that I've ever seen before, I always take the time out, introduce myself, tell them who I am, that way, I get their name. I always make sure they got a card. That way they know who I am. Cause I don't like being that person where they, well, some guy from Austin Mueller's was. I want them to know that Zach from Austin Mueller's was here. So
That's awesome. Yeah, we you know, Rich and Jason and myself, we all take pride in those relationships we built with our customers. You know, and Jason's famous for saying, you know, that guy washing dishes this week may be the guy that owns the restaurant in 2-3 years. You never know
right.
what someone's going to happen in the kitchen, man. I've seen people, you know, be a fry cook and you turn around 4 or 5 years later and they're running, you know, some big fancy restaurant. I'm like, man, you've come a long way.
Yep, no doubt. You never know these days.
Yeah, you never know. So that's cool. So you're doing some training stuff. I heard you attended a train-the-trainer class at CFESA. How'd that go?
It was awesome. I had a really good time. Dan's an amazing teacher. He's just one of those. He's so likable that, you know, whatever he's talking about, you just get focused in. You want to learn it. You know, it was a great time because I mean they taught me a lot of exactly what you're talking about, building that relationship. You know, when you train the trainer, you get that information to where you can get a better handle on passing that knowledge on to whoever you're talking to. And I mean that was an amazing class. I enjoyed that class. So
Yeah, I'm a trainer for CFESA. I do refrigeration, but I've never attended that class, and I kind of wish I had because it teaches you how to read the room, kind of like.
right.
I'm guilty because I don't do a ton of training. It's not my main job. I mean, I fix stuff, I train new techs, but being in an environment around 12 to 16 guys that aren't your guys, you don't know, it's just natural to gravitate to the people that are closer to your level. It's just how it is. It's natural. And to try to not do that when you're teaching a group is really hard. You got to kind of find out fairly fast what everybody's weaknesses or strengths to try to work to the weaknesses of the room. And it's not necessarily weaknesses, but what they don't know or what they don't understand, and try to help them. And man, that can be a challenge sometimes. So
The why, that's what I'm always after, the why. And I pass that to my guys. You know, if you don't understand the why of what you're doing here, there's no reason to do it. You need to understand that why. That way you can reproduce those results every time. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So how many technicians is currently at Austin Mueller's?
I think we have 16, 15 or 16. I'd have to do a count.
That's a pretty good group. And so
Right.
do you do a lot of ride-alongs, or, you know, if someone's struggling, do you go out with that person to help them, you know, figure out what they're struggling with and how to build and develop that little section that they need help with?
We do that a lot. I try to have somebody with me every day. I've got 4 guys that live right here, real close to me, probably within 10 or 15 minutes, and they're newer to the field, been in the field less than a year. So we kind of rotate those guys in and out, and we build their training. You know, and with me, I never know what I'm going to be working on. I could be working on a cooler. I could be working on a flat top. It doesn't matter. So that works out well for them because they get to see all aspects of what's in the kitchen world. So, but yeah, I do go to other areas of our service area, and I help some of our other guys too. It's just whatever's needed. You know, whatever we see as an issue. You know, Austin will redirect me because I've got people that can cover my area, and I'll go help wherever I'm needed, basically.
That's really cool. I like that aspect of it. You're just making a difference in these guys. A lot of companies do things differently. You know, some companies don't have a structured process. But for you to be able to peel off and go, hey, you know, we need some help and support over here, or hey, we're lacking over here. Let's go over here. Let's, you know, bring someone along. Let's, you know, get them brought up on this. That's really cool to see.
Yeah, no doubt. Because I mean, you would be amazed because I've been in that position too. You know, I've been there where I'm looking at something. I'm like, man, I don't understand this. Why am I here? You know, and back then it was calling Austin. You know, Austin, I need some help. I need some of those years of experience that you got under your belt. Come over here and explain this to me, man. And you know, as always, he was really good on the phone with me. He could say, hey, you know, have you checked this or have you checked this? And I'm like, I didn't even think to check that. How did you know that? You know, I mean, something a little simple like that. I do that with my guys every day. We actually do a thing called Marco Polo. You've ever heard that or not? But it's a video walkie-talkie. I can have a conversation with one of my technicians, and it may not go anywhere because they're not really giving me their information because they're newer guys. I may not get what I need from them to help them do their job. So I do a video walkie-talkie. It's just Marco Polo, and they can shoot a real quick video, you know, 3 or 4 seconds. Hey, this is what I'm working on, what I need to do, you know, and I can get that. And that little short video, I mean, most of the time when they send me that, I've been there, I've done that, and I can go, hey, I need you to check this, and then we'll work on the why. You
Yeah.
know, and I mean, it just works out better for me. It's real quick, real easy. I don't have to be right there on the phone immediately. So if I'm, elbow deep in a combi oven, I don't have to be on the phone. I can be like, hey, I tell my guys, if you message me or you call me and I don't answer, I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes. That's how I am, because I'll take a break. Hey, answer whatever question, go right back to what I'm doing.
You talked about having those days where like, what is this thing? How's this work? Man, I still have those days sometimes.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, every day.
I'm the guy of like, well, no one's worked on this. Let's send Pat. I'm like, why me, man? Some days I'm like, I don't want to do this. I just want to go fix stuff. But it's kind of the position we get ourselves into every time, ain't it?
So, some of that new stuff that's coming out, you look at it, you go, man, what engineer designed this? And I mean but I mean it's always a puzzle. That's one of my favorite things is puzzles. So you get a new puzzle. How do you fix it? So a lot of that service manual work, looking through the documentation and then just getting in there with your hands and try to figure out, what happened.
I take that same approach with guys when guys call me and they're having problems troubleshooting. I may know that answer. I may be able to tell them what's wrong with it right off the bat, but I've learned that if I give those guys the answer, they're never going to call me. They're just going to call me for answers. They're never going to call me to learn how to do it. So, so say if they have a problem with something, I'm going to tell them 3 or 4 things to check voltage wise or amperage wise or pressure wise. And I never hear back from them because they check those 3 or 4 things and all of a sudden they figured it out and they don't have to call me.
It clicks.
Back. I'm like, you can at least call me back and tell me you figured it out. They're like, well, you already know what it was. I'm like, yeah, I do.
My guys, you can ask any guy that works for us. I don't give answers. That's just not my thing, because I want you to be able to figure that out in the future. That way you don't have that same conversation with me 2 weeks from now. And I always put them in the right direction, but I won't give them the answer, even though I may know it.
So my 2 sons work with me. One of them's my current apprentice. He just graduated high school. He just turned 19 this weekend. He rides with me every day, pretty much, unless I'm doing something. Awesome. Yeah, it's really cool. And my older son, he's 20. He'll be 22 this week, and he's been doing a little over 2 years, and he's getting pretty confident. He's getting pretty good at some stuff, and he'll call me. He'll be like, "Hey, have you ever seen this? It's doing this, this, and this." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "That's kind of wild. How's it doing that?" And he's like, "Oh, I figured it out. It's this." I was like, "You're such a smart aleck, man. Why are you calling me?"
That's awesome, though. I mean, 2 sons. That's it. Just 2 sons in it.
Yeah, I got 2 boys that are in it. My daughter, she's a massage therapist, but yeah, I got 3 kids, and 2 of them are coworkers, man.
That's awesome. I mean, that just being able to pass your knowledge to them has got to be amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like the older one, when he came in, he was pretty much, we're at work, you're not my dad type of deal, and then he got over that pretty fast. And the younger one, he's still kind of learning. He's a lot more quiet. He's not as outgoing as his brother, but he's starting to catch on. It's just, how it is when you first start, especially if you don't know anything. Neither one of them had used tools till they came here. So like they put a wrench on something, I'm like, turn it over.
Right.
They got 2 wrenches on something, and they're not pushing them the right direction. I'm watching them struggle. I'm like, hey, they really need to go against each other and face each other. And then all of a sudden right off, and like, oh, I'm like, you'll get used to it, man. I was like, I was the same way years and years ago.
My oldest daughter, she's 17 now, and Austin's been trying to hire her, I don't know, since she was about 10. Because she likes what I do. She don't want to do it for a living, but she likes doing what I do. She's rode with me, a couple of times during the summers, when she's up for school. And I mean, she loves working on stuff. She loves watching me, work on things. And she's like, hey, let me get in there and do that, She likes the tools. She likes, getting in there and actually getting her hands dirty. And Austin said, man, she would make an awesome, awesome technician. I was like, well, that's not what she wants to do for a living. She's wanting to go in the nursing world. So
even Loretta's right here trying to get it to happen.
See, yep. Yeah, they're after. I mean, one of these days it might click with her, and she may say, "I might need to learn that. That way, I got at least something to fall back on, if I need it." So,
people in general parts and USG are like, "Pat, you got any more kids? You want to have some more kids?" I'm like, "No." I'm like, another Finley starts working at the Indy branch, you're going to have to change the name on the front door. I don't care. That's funny. So, CFESA conference, there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of fun, but there's a lot of learning too. I remember when I went, like if I was walking around and something was going on and Heather seen me, Heather was dragging me into something. She was like, "What are you doing? Come here!" And she just dragged me into a meeting or a committee meeting or something. I'm like, "I just went to the restroom. Leave me alone," you know. And she's dragging me around, showing me everything, and it was really cool experience though, because there's so many things going on. You can learn new skills. You can see what's going on with like the training committee, the YPC committee. You want to talk about some of the things you seen or you were a part of when you were at the conference?
So every conference for me has gotten better. Nashville, I was totally lost. No, I had no clue what's going on, and uh, Jeff Victory has been an awesome, awesome influence on me. He's drugged me into a bunch of different things, and I greatly appreciate that because it drags me out of my comfort zone, and it's got me to, open up and starting to talk to people, which come in pretty good handy this year. I was on stage. Um, I had to do a presentation for the YPC. Me and a couple of guys from Kimco, we did CFESA bingo, and it was absolutely amazing. We got to tell our story and kind of introduce ourselves and what we do, kind of what I'm doing here, and I got to throw that out there, for all the folks at CFESA that came to bingo, and Griffin and Cody were absolutely amazing on the stage. We had a heck of a time doing the bingo thing, and that was all new for me because being on stage in front of 400 people, that's a pretty big deal for me. I'm used to classrooms that are 20 people. That's great, but when you get all these other folks that are from other parts of the world, it's pretty intimidating. But we had a great time, and I think everybody enjoyed our presentations. So.
That's really cool. That's something I want to do. I want to get into speaking and just. I'm a huge proponent of shining the light on what we do as an industry. I'm trying to grow our industry. I've had a lot of guys, get careers in this industry just from some of the things I've seen, I've done, I've shown, and people I've talked to. We got Hughesman HVAC and the comments. He said, he was telling some Sheets Commercial Kitchen guys about the show, and they already subscribed. It's cool to spread the word on what we do to get it out there. We're kind of like we're part of the HVACR community, but we're kind of our own little sector. And a lot of people don't realize, because they don't get their appliances at home fixed. You don't get your oven and fridge fixed hardly ever. If it goes bad, most time people just replace it. But you're spending the kind of money people are spending on this kitchen stuff. I mean, this stuff ain't throwaway stuff, man. Some of these combi ovens are $80,000. I mean, it's just like you don't throw that away. You run that thing 8-10 years until it's like, okay, it's time to get a new one. So that's what I really want to get to, spreading the word on what we do. And I got a feeling you're going to be in that same boat here pretty soon.
Right. Well, I mean, the YPC, we were talking about things, that drove me in the conference. The YPC, I mean, we have the same mission. It is attracting that young talent. I personally get to go to the high schools that are in our area. I get to go to the TCATs that are in our area, the tech schools. And, that's one of the things that I share. I'm a CFESA member, in the YPC, and one of our goals is to bring you kids into this field. We want you to, look at this as a potential career for you, And, when I start talking to them about, HVAC, hey, we do HVAC too, but we do so much more than just HVAC. And when you give that to those kids that are, 17, 18 years old, oh, wow, there's more than just, getting in people's attics and underneath people's houses. Like, you need to tell me more about that, you can just see their mind starts turning when they think, hey, there's a different career here. This might be, something I might can get on board with, so.
It's a never ending, like, learning career. I mean, it's everything changes so fast. I've been doing this 18 years, and the technology I've seen in 18 years is amazing.
I can only imagine.
In the next 18 years, I won't even have to go anywhere. I'll be able to just pull it up on my tablet and fix it over the phone. So
yep, no doubt. I mean, just in the 8 years that I've been doing it, I mean, just watching the equipment evolve. I mean, it's been just it's crazy because like what you're saying, you never stop learning. I mean, you get a one of these combi ovens. I remember the first year that I worked for Austin. I was one of the classes that I did. I went to CFESA to Well Built, put on a big presentation. I got to go to I got to do combi ovens, and steamers, and pizza ovens, and things like that. And I mean, those were the best of the best at that point. And I mean, those are dinosaurs now. When you look at the new combi ovens, you're like, wow, that's totally different from what I originally learned. So you always got to keep learning.
Yeah. When I first started, combis had like screens, and they weren't, they were still buttons on the outside. Like most of them didn't have screens. They were just like an LCD thing that was like orange, you know
Right.
what I mean? And
Right.
it'd tell you an error code. And then you get a little closer to what we are now, and it's like, oh, it's the error code. You can get on there and you diagnose with the screen. So now it's like error code pops up, you hit a button, it tells you what's wrong. You hit an error button, you can go test that thing right there. It's just like, I'm like, side panel off, I got my voltmeter. I'm like, hit this button. I'm like, well, it's not working. I got power. Okay, it's this. I'm like, it gets easier and easier, it seems
Yep.
like, but it's really more and more complex. If you do have a major problem,
Right.
it's if you can't test voltage at the unit, and if you don't have voltage there, that's when it starts getting a little hairy.
It's all fine and dandy till you pull that side cover off and you see all that wires. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, man, we got a guy that's colorblind. I don't know how he does it, man. I'm like, you are absolutely insane, dude. And he's like bad colorblind. Like he can't tell the street like lights, and like if he goes somewhere and the street lights are sideways, he's like lost. He's like,
Oh,
what?
wow.
He's like, I hope it's this way.
I could only imagine on that one. That'd be a bad deal, reading some of the schematics.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, I mean, you get some of these manufacturers, you pull a side panel off and all the wires are red and they're just numbered. You're like, why would you do this? Like, I know it's cheaper to buy one collar because you can buy 8 million feet of wire for a certain cost, but man, you are killing us.
Right. So those are real fun when you got to, trace them down and then the numbers rub off. That's even better,
Yeah, because everything lasts forever in a commercial kitchen environment. I don't
better believe it.
My post this week of the wire just falling apart on that grill. I was like, oh boy, that was not a fun job.
Been there, done that, man.
Yep. So, you say you work on everything. And your favorites in your refrigeration is because where you probably started at. If you were to something you want to learn on or you want to master, what would that be? One new piece that you maybe you're lacking a little bit or you don't feel as confident in. What would that be?
I mean, right now, my goal right now is to start learning some of the new fryers. I work on PrimeMaster fryers every day, but there's some other brands that I'm trying to get in to do some training with that I just don't have it yet. A fryer is a fryer, but the control is where it's at. So it's learning the ins and outs of those controllers and how to, do the troubleshooting, do the operation, and I'm hoping that, that I get into some of these classes and learn, because that's my goal is to be able to, work on anything that's put in front of me, but that and coffee equipment, something that, I've not had a lot of experience with, so doing the big coffee bars and things, I think that would be something cool to learn.
So coffee or espresso? There's two different things. I can handle coffee. Don't give me
to me, it's all the same right now because I don't know no difference. So,
coffee pretty not bad. Espresso when it starts getting a little crazy.
Right. Well, I've kind of looked at some of it, and I've just looked at some documentation for some of that stuff, because I know some of our customers have that stuff. I've done a lot of the bun machines that have the just like your gas station coffee. You walk in, it's got the touch screen and does it all in the grind. I've worked on tons of those, but when you get into the big gigantic, coffee bars, like at a Starbucks or something, I don't know nothing about any of that.
The multi-step units get kind of crazy. I've had a
Right.
little bit here or there. We used to do some Frankie stuff years ago. We got away from that. I did some training on some Eversys stuff, and their system's pretty cool because it's all modular. So it's like everything's like its own little section. So I can pull out the heat, the hot block, and everything's like a little modular section. So if you already know what the problem is. You can pull out that modular section and put another one in it, take it back to the shop, fix it, and then bring it back and swap it back out. So the downtime is like nothing. So
it's pretty awesome.
It's pretty cool to do. Like I had a video, like I tore one down, pulled all the components out, and put it back together in like 6 minutes.
Wow.
But you're just tearing out modules. You're tearing out chunks. It's like a harness and like plug in hoses for water or milk or whatever, steam. And it was kind of cool, but nothing ever happened with it. If I had to work on one now, I'd be completely lost. And
we did a ton of work, with multiplex. I've done a lot of multiplex units. The frappe machines and things like that. Those are a breeze for me. But as far as like the just the straight beverage systems, I don't know, just we've never went that direction, it's something that, Austin's never really wanted to get involved with, but I told him, hey, you never know what customer that might land us if we know that kind of stuff. So, it's always good to know.
Yeah, that's for sure. So I teach for Fry Master for General Parts and USG. I got a class coming up actually next month. I'm gonna do a 2-day. It's a day and a half class, 2-day class at the longest, and it's fun because we pretty much cover the touchscreen fryers and the heating section. I'll have a gas fryer we'll tear apart and work on. And but I really the only fryers I work on is pretty much the Fry Master, and then I work on a little bit of Pitco and some Ultra Fryer, which is Pitco too. But I mean mainly my fryers is just Fry Master. Taco Bell, I'm in a Taco Bell every day. It seems like just fixing something there.
Those are fun.
Yeah, they're real fun right now. I take out those fry baskets and they're all clogging up. They're great. They're great.
Right. Anytime they change product, man, they change to something new. You never know what you're gonna get in that filter system.
Well, they took out all those crumb catches because no one was cleaning them, and it was filling up with product, and it was causing heating failures because it wouldn't heat up fast enough, so it'd freak out. So we go around, we put in the normal flat bottom and throw those away. I've got customers like, hey, can we get those back? I'm like, well, no, because corporate Taco Bell said we got to throw them away, so I threw them away.
Right.
So that's been my current nightmares, going around unclogging fryers. It's like I thought it was bad unclogging them in the back, and I'm like, I'd rather unclog them in the back now than clog them in the drain.
We have customers, Taco Bells, that like to leave tools in them when they do their cleaning, and I don't know how many valves I've taken apart, and because they're like, well, it's leaking oil. We don't know why it's leaking oil. Well, if you take the big thing that you left in the bottom out, it won't leak oil. It's always something like that.
Yeah, it tears those Teflons up and just leaks right around.
Oh yeah,
it's like
right.
A $2,000 repair bill, right? And and hopefully you didn't tear up your rotary actuator, because then then it's really like $2,500 to $3,000 repair bill for something you could have done. It's beeping you. It says remove tools.
Right. Yeah, that's my thing. It literally told you to take the tool out, and then you ignored it.
Yeah, people. If it wasn't for terrible water and people, I wouldn't have a job.
I understand that. We've been trying to do a little Pitco work as well, and Henny Penny is the other one that I'm really trying to learn, because I've got quite a few customers that have Henny Penny fryers that we've never really had that opportunity. So I've been working with some folks, especially through CFESA, and I think I'm going to be in class actually next week for Henny Penny. So that's a great deal for me.
Yeah, I've worked on Henny Penny, hit or miss. I mean, we weren't a warranty provider, and I don't do a lot of the golden arches, so I don't get involved with Henny Penny. It seems pretty cool. I did see a store that had the new touchscreen one, and I didn't get to play around with it. I walked by and I was like, why is that screen black? And I'm like, oh, that's a touchscreen. I was like, that's the first one I've seen. They actually had a touchscreen for their French fry fryer, and they had the standard controller on their protein fryer in the back. It was a corporate store. It was pretty cool. And they were cooking in. I was like, man, that's pretty slick. This design on the screen is just different. I don't know. Are you fairly active online or not? I don't think you are you? So like I'm in a lot of groups just because I do the podcast. I try to share it to all the groups, and I try to get people on, talk about it. And there's always like this hate. It's like one guy hates this brand, one guy hates this brand, one guy hates that brand, and it's just like. And I asked them, like, why do you hate it? Well, they're just junk. I'm like, do you really work on them, or have you been trained on them? Well, no, they're just junk. I'm like, how can you form an opinion on something that you don't work on, you're not trained on? Just because you don't work on it, it's just junk. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Most of the time they get mad and they leave me alone. But I said they get
it's all money to me, man. It doesn't matter what brand it is.
Dude, I don't care. I'll work on it. I'll figure out how to work on it. I'll find somebody how to work on it, or I'll figure out training on it, but I will figure it out.
Right. That's how I am. I mean, I don't really care what brand name's on them. I mean, that's just one of those things that it didn't matter if I'm working on a cooler. It don't matter if I'm working on a reach-in, a fryer, flat top oven. It doesn't matter what brand name is on it to me. It's fixing it and making your customer happy. That's where I'm at with that. So.
Yep. Yeah, we're, people are like, oh, you're a repair business. No, we're a customer relations business. We, it's the customer has a problem. We got to fix it. So.
Better believe it. I mean, that'll make or break a business right there.
So what are some of the things you're looking forward to coming up in the next year of your career? I know you got some training stuff coming up. Any other things that are going to be coming up that you want to talk about?
So my buddy Dan up at CFESA, he's wanting to make me a CFESA certified trainer. So that's a big one for me. I'm really looking forward to going up there and spending time with Dan, learning how he wants me to teach. Because I mean I've been doing teaching for about 2 years for Austin, and I mean I have a great passion in that. I mean, that's just something that I enjoy doing. Is just passing knowledge along, because that means if I teach them, that means I don't have to do it for the rest of my life, and I can kick back. It's one of those things. If I train you to do that job, that means I don't have to do it no more. So, but Dan, they talked to me several weeks ago about coming up to CFESA and just learning how they do things, and he's wanting to get me into that training slot. So I mean, I think that's an amazing opportunity, and I'm really looking forward to that. So
is he trying to bring you in to do some of the hot side stuff to help out with that, or just a little bit of everything, or what's going on with that? You don't know yet?
I don't know. I'm up for whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I mean, if he wants me to teach it, I can learn the material and teach anything he wants.
I know we're in the process of trying to redo the refrigeration stuff and trying to bring a lot of it up to date. That's why I'm going up a couple days early to meet up with the other instructor. The other instructor is local, so he gets to teach a little more than me, but it's easier for him to get there than it is me.
Right.
I gotta drive 11 hours or fly down. Most of the time I just drive because I bring tools. I want to show off toys and stuff like that. So, Loretto's saying you're going up to go to, I think, an EGSW class and work with him on that stuff. So that's really cool. I look forward to talking to you about that and seeing how that works out. I know Dan, he's probably looking to get some help, and I know they got a big initiative to train a lot of people in the next few years. Yeah. So I'm really excited to talk to him about that. The last few years we've only done 2 refrigeration classes, and I think there's 4 this year. So, they are stepping it up, and I imagine they're just going to keep that rolling in the next few years. So
hopefully I'm helping you teach some.
Hey, come on, man, we'll have some fun. I enjoy teaching. Sometimes it's a little overwhelming. It just depends on the class. Every class is different. Sometimes you get guys that, my last one that I actually taught, I had one I went down to go teach and I had a family emergency. I had to come back, so I didn't get to teach it. But the last one I did teach, there were some guys local to me. They work for they work up in Lafayette. It's a union shop. Really good guy. Josh Whited owns it and runs it. He's a CFESA member. He's on the training committee. I'm not sure if he still is, but he's a really good guy. But he sent 2 guys there, and one of the guys was the smartest guy I ever talked to. He was 24 years old. He dropped out of college and joined the union and is doing this stuff. And he started explaining stuff to me, and I was like, "Why are you here? I'm confused listening to you." I'm like, "You sure you don't want to teach this class, dude?" I'm like,
"Right, that's awesome."
He was super smart, and then the other guy was really smart too. He'd been doing it 3 or 4 years, and he was really smart. I'm like, "Why are you guys here, man? You guys are you guys want to help teach? You want to take some of this off my plate, guys?" So you never know what you're going to get, and it's always really cool. But
get that refresher in. That's what they needed. They needed that refresher, some of that key information from you. That's what it was.
Well, and the guy that dropped out of college is like, "Yeah, college is boring to me." And I was like, "This is boring to you too?" And he's like, "A little bit." I was like, "Hey, sorry, man." I'm like, "It's some getter course."
Right.
He was really cool. He was just one of those guys. Every once in a while you run into one of those guys, and I was like, "Holy smokes, man, I can learn from this guy."
I like talking with people like that because we had one work for us that was just absolutely amazing with HVAC. He went to the skills competition and won a bunch of stuff, and I mean he did really well. And I mean, electrical was his thing, and I mean I could have a conversation with him, and I mean you just felt smarter once you left the room. You're like, man, how did he figure that out? I never thought about it that way. So it was great asset.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So we're going to start winding down here a little bit. It's been a few minutes, but what are some of the things you would tell somebody if they're wanting to get some information or learn about our industry? What would you tell them?
Well, I mean, the CFESA things we always point people to, because we always have great information that comes out of that. We're always with the YPC, the people that are a lot more active than me online, they're always putting out videos that talk about our field and talk about getting into our field and the jobs that they may do. And I mean, with us, I always try to just throw it out there and just, let people know what I do for a living. I mean, my neighbor across the street, he's 84 years old. He never understood that, a kitchen may go down, a cooler may go down. He's like, I didn't ever even thought about that with restaurants. I didn't know that, coolers fail and, grills fail and things like that, so just getting that knowledge out there, and I start with, the young folks. I mean, I throw it out there so that they understand what we actually do for a living. Cause, I drive down the road with this big AM on the side of my van. They're like, oh, there goes AM. They don't know what I do for a living until they actually have a conversation with me, and that's one of those things that, my van's pretty easy to see. It's pretty big, and I'm very very visible, which is a great thing. But you know, I've had conversations with guys, and they had no clue what I do for a living, and that's just spreading that word out there and telling them, hey man, we work on everything that's in a restaurant. I mean, if you need some help, we're here to help you. And
Yep.
I mean, it all starts with the youth, man. You just in the last 8 years or so, I've just watched the youth involvement. It's just going downhill. And I mean, you see people, they go to college and they have these useless degrees that they have nothing to do with, but you can take that same person and teach them a skill with their hand, and I mean, they got a career now. They can build on that. And that's what I always tell them. Hey, if you want to go to college, that's your thing. Go do your thing. Just make sure that when you get out of college, you got a job waiting on you. If you do this, you always have a job waiting on you.
Yep, and that's what I always tell people. I was like, I'm not anti-college. I'm anti-worthless degree that you can't make no money or do anything with. That's what I'm anti. Like, if you have a plan and you know what you want to do, and you can survive on that, and you can make a living, you'd be happy, go for it. But please don't just go because you want to have the college experience, because most of the time it doesn't work out for you.
The ones that are behind me, there's a few of those that are the same way. I did that too whenever I got out of school.
Mhm.
I have a useless degree that is in computer science, and I never used it. It's one of those things that I got all that, and I went right back to working with my hands. I was like, why did I waste this 4 years? But it is what it is. I did get the college experience, but I come to my senses and said, hey, you need to learn a trade, man.
That's funny. So, you talked about going to high schools. Like, what do you do when you go to high schools? I've done a couple. I want to do more. I'm trying to work to get to where I can go do more college things, and not college, but college days, like in career days.
That's it. Yep.
So what do you do when you go there? How do you interact with the kids, and how do you, talk about what we do?
So Miss Loretta got us this very fancy, table and get up and everything. So we're big and flashy over in the corner, and it's so fun to watch these kids walk by, because they're like, I don't know if I want to talk to that guy or not. He might actually put me to work, But if you get them over there, you can start talking about the same thing that I've been talking about. I always throw something out there on the table that's interesting to talk about.
Mhm.
I'll bring a compressor, or I'll bring, a tool bag and a set of gauges or something. And, you'll have these guys walk up and they'll pick up a set of gauges, fancy digital gauges, they're like, hey, what is this for? And that gets you in the end where you can start talking about that. It's something interesting that they pick up and they look at, and you can just explain what that is, and how that, fits in my everyday. And it kind of it hooks them, and brings them in. And then you get them for 10 minutes or so, and you can explain what you do for a living. And I mean, that's how I work, because you're talking to, 16, 17-year-old kids. I mean, they ain't got a care in the world what you do for a living. But, if you can hook them with something cool laying on the table, and they get a little bit of knowledge out of it, they may get that in the back of their brain and start thinking, when they're a senior, hey, remember that guy that came? He had that cool stuff on the table, and I mean, you never know where that might lead.
Yeah, that's what I do. I like to bring some parts, some broken stuff, and then I bring some tools, and then I like to bring my press tool for refrigeration. And like, when people aren't paying attention, I'll set it off so it runs. It gets their attention because it's a weird noise, and they're like, "What's that?"
Right.
And then
Right.
also, I got your attention. You're hooked in.
That's it. And I mean, that you never know what kind of impact that's going to have on, some of these kids that are in school. Cause I mean, they make, man, that was awesome, man. I need to get in on that. So
That's cool. So I'm not going to keep you any longer, but I really appreciate you coming on, and I'm really excited to talk to you, and I'm proud of you for winning that award. there's not a whole lot of those awards out there. I wish we could do it every year and get more people involved. It's every 2 years they give that award away. They have a big awards dinner. They give a lot of cool awards away. They have people that, are involved in the community and they're doing things. Office support staff, outstanding members, active members. They do a lot to give back to the people out here making a difference. So, if you want to be a part of CFESA, check out CFESA.com. Your company can sign up and become a CFESA company. There's lots of trainings for members and non-members. There's a ton of information there. It's
Get involved with the committee.
It's kind of a little. It's kind of like a little secret, man. And I'm not knocking them. I just don't think we do a good enough job showing what they do. It's getting a lot better now, but when I first got into this industry, even in the last 5 years ago, a lot of people still didn't know about what CFESA was, and it's getting a lot better. And I think, with the YPC, it's going to keep growing more and more and more of what CFESA is and the things we can offer the industry and people. And I think it's only going to get better. So I know you're not a big social media guy. If you are on LinkedIn, I will tag his LinkedIn in the show description and stuff so you guys can hook up with him on LinkedIn. And then I'll also tag Austin Mueller's Restaurant Equipment Service. They're a really great family-based company in Tennessee. Austin and Loretta do an amazing job. I'm excited to see what Loretta's going to do on the board of directors.
Oh yeah,
I got a feeling she's going to stir some things up, and it's going to be a good group that's going to take over and it's going to keep pushing CFESA forward and the industry forward.
No doubt.
So I want to thank you for coming on and have a good night, man.
Thank you so much for having me. I greatly appreciate you, man.
See you, buddy. We appreciate you making it into the show. If you would, please remember to rate and review the show as well as subscribe. Also, if you'd like to be a guest on the Commercial Kitchen Chronicles or you know someone that would be a great guest, let us know. Pat at commercialkitchenchronicles.com or send us a DM. Thanks, everybody.